Pick on the drink. Number 13. What's up? This is big for you ass. Here to deliver all those hot takes, which all of you been dying for. Now, I've got a list of hot takes here that I've been given by a loyal listener. But first, I want to talk about the controversy of the Mike Pence and John Oliver rival bunny stories. See, Mike Pence's daughter wrote a book with their pet bunny, and John Oliver felt that since Mike Pence is anti-gay, he should write a book about a gay bunny who gets married. And I think both of their voices are special. And I think that it's great that we can live in a country where we can hear both bunnies' perspectives. You know? Even though those two might not like each other very much, we all get to say how we feel. And I think that's important. Now, there's also some controversy going on about all of the 50 million people whose Facebook data got leaked. First of all, I want to say that this is a good lesson for everybody, that you shouldn't give any company your information. You should never do that because your information is private to you, and you're special. You're special just for being you. And when you give your information to a company like that, you're turning yourself into a commodity. And I don't think that's what any of us want to do to ourselves, is it? No. No, it isn't. Let me just take a drink here, neighbors. I see here also that Mr. Stephen Hawking has died. Rest in peace. I may have kidded about Stephen Hawking being a wheelchair man because he is a wheelchair man, and he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about because he's nothing but a wheelchair man, and he can't move except for his cheeks, so everything he says is stupid. So don't worry about Stephen Hawking. But what I would say about Stephen Hawking is that while he was able to move his eyes and cheek and a couple of his fingers, I did read some of his books as a kid, and I loved them even though I couldn't understand them because they filled me with wonder. And I've always looked up to Mr. Stephen Hawking. So rest in peace, buddy. Maybe in the afterlife, you'll be able to fly around space and just explore the edges of the universe. That's always what I've always envisioned for the afterlife, is that once we die, we get to go explore the universe and look at all the supernova and the stars exploding. And maybe we get to see what's at the edge of the universe. Maybe we get to see the edges of what maybe we might call God. What a wonderful thing that might be, isn't it? That would be fantastic. I think we've got some other hot takes here. Let me check my hot takes machine. It's my friend Porcelain who sent me some stuff. I just wanted to give a special shout out to my buddy for helping me out with this show. Couldn't have been done without him. we see that a Russian spy was killed by Putin. I think that Putin is bad news. And I think we all need to stay away from Russia because nothing good is gonna ever come of that. Nothing is ever gonna go. I'm not talking about. Um, I'm not talking about the Russian individual people themselves. I'm sure most of those people are good people, but the Russian government, there's a lot of shady stuff that happens, and I don't think any of us want to get involved with that because they will kill you and your daughter in your house or a hotel room or wherever they got killed. They will kill you. So don't ever think that you're safe because Putin will fuck you up. Even 20 years later, when you think you got away with it, he will fucking fuck your ass up. And that's the message that the Russian government was sending. He was saying, look, I think you thought you got away with this, but we just got a guy over there who saw you, and now you're fucked, and your whole family's fucked, and we're going to kill your daughter. That's what Putin says. And that's why the Russian government and all the Russian people who support Putin are scum Slavs. And that's why Hitler did what he did when it came to the Slavs. And that's what we should have fucking done with. Anyway, it's a complicated situation. The Texas bombing situation's been a huge thing. It's just some guy who's, maybe he didn't get the kind of love that he needed to get. Because he seemed to be sending bombs out indiscriminately with no real agenda. And they somehow caught him, and he blew himself up. It's a little ironic, but maybe if we had listened to that guy, maybe if that guy hadn't felt so alone, he might not have mailed packages with bombs in them to different places. Maybe the lesson here is that we all need to listen to each other a little bit more, and that we all need to be better to each other. Because I bet if that guy had some friends who maybe invited him over for poker once in a while, I bet that guy might not have sent out all those bombs. And I think the thing that we need to take from this, it's not necessarily more government or gun control, it's just we need to be better to our neighbors who usually aren't, but they should be our friends. How many of you know your next door neighbor? Maybe next time you see him, you say, hey, why don't you come over for dinner tomorrow? Maybe make some inroads in your own community. That might help with everybody feeling so alone and isolated and shooting each other in cinemas and schools. That's just my 2 cents. So now we got some big mail. We got some monkey news. Chimp literally takes flight from the poachers, threatening his life by helping his rescue pilot. No, he didn't. That didn't happen. That chimp was just fucked up. Chimps aren't that goddamn smart. Fuck monkey news. I can't be part of that sort of monkey news. That's not real news. Not news. How many of us never talked about that Caitlyn Jenner killed somebody? Everybody makes fun of Kevin Spacey for trying to say that he's gay. And I think it's great that Kevin Spacey's gay, but it doesn't excuse his, you know, sexual harassment things. Because everybody deserves respect. On the set, in the workplace, wherever. Everybody deserves respect just like you do, just like I do. Because we're all special people. We're all human beings. And we all have our own way of thinking. And we all deserve respect. But it doesn't sound like. Now I'm suddenly distracted. We got the Count Dankula stuff. We got somebody named Count Dankula. See, he taught his dog to respond to commands such as seek Heil, to raise his paw, like shaking. It was cute. Or gas the Jews, like he probably said gas the Jews when he wanted to go for a walk. And it was a funny thing that he did to mess with his girlfriend. It was a funny, stupid internet video. I didn't think anybody thought of it, but apparently the guy's going to jail. I don't know anything from that. I didn't read anything about it, but I I thought it was great that the guy was, you know, spending time with a dog. You know, he obviously loved the dog, and he wasn't trying to gas Jews, and yet he's going to jail for it. I don't think anybody would approve that. He didn't do anything bad. He did something maybe offensive, but being offended is not a real. That's not a real thing. Like once you're like being offended doesn't afford you really anything. And neighbors, I would say that you know, you know what? Let's go to Bic now. Let me see. We got some Bic now. Hi, Bic. You claim to be a liberal, but you use words like faggot and nigger. Don't you feel like a hypocrite? Signed, a big fat calzone eating hypocrite. Oh, no. Not sign that. He was just saying that. Love the show, by the way. Okay. I've never used those words. And even if I have used those words, uh, hypocrite is right half the time. And it's better than being wrong 100% of the time. So I have no problem with being a hypocrite. Uh, you can go fuck yourself on that situation. Let's see. Question. Pick. What are your thoughts on heterosexual anal sex? Platypole. 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 Uh, I'm for it. I'm definitely for that. Uh, what's the deal with airplane peanuts? I don't know if there's a deal with airplane peanuts. I don't think that's. I think that's not real big now. Let's see what we got. Hi, big, huge fan of your work. I am 300 pounds of shit, and it's left me unmotivated and empty. As a fat person, how do you find the motivation to start the podcast? Well, personally, I'm berated into doing it by people who do way too much prep into helping me do it. So that's it's kind of like I'm a crazy person. I go to a therapist and I have a person that I pay to be somebody who's like a crazy person to yell at me to do shit. And I'm starting to get some shit done. It's working out pretty sweet. Let's see. What else we got? We got Dear Bick. Why do you hate women so much? More specifically, Brittany Vendy. Do not. No, I don't hate women. Or I think I've seen Brittany Vendy. She was. I think she's kind of cute, isn't she? We got a question from Petard. No, it was the same question. Oh, okay. Here's a question. We got a hey Vic. You always say you're about three things. Although they tend to vary wildly and often. Are there three things that you are not about? If so, what are they? And I'm glad you asked that. Uh, the three things that I'm not about are uh, religion, social injustice, and um, not fucking paying up when you say you're gonna do it. Like when you fucking have a bunch of people over and everyone's like, oh yeah, let's get pizza, and then you spend like $50 on pizza, and then a guy's just like, oh yeah, I owe you $10. Does he ever pay the $10? No, he doesn't. And then you gotta bring it up during a poker tournament, like you owe me fucking $10. It's like, oh, I only brought $10. Well, you should have brought $20 because you already owe me $10. But then at that point, it's just like you have to win it off of them. That's that's my take on that shit. This episode is sponsored by um, Home Improvement Season 9. Uh, Home Improvement Season 9 includes all the unseen episodes, including the episode where Jonathan Taylor Thompson witnesses his mom come out of the shower and he accidentally sees her dick. And Tim Allen has to sit Jonathan Taylor Thompson down and say, no, son, she's not a man, she's a woman. But, and then explain the entire thing. And then he goes, no, it doesn't make me gay, it makes me woke. And he explains that to his fan. It's a whole, it's like Seventh Heaven. It's a whole bonding episode. And they explain the trans situation, and you won't see this on TV. So, Home Improvement Season 9, thank you for sponsoring. This has been Big On Visual. Visual. Visual.